Thank you everybody for coming out. This was a little bit of a surprise. I was in one of the groups about a week ago and somebody was talking about restarting their wholesale business, and I chimed in with, well, I just did it back in July, and yeah, you can definitely do it, rebuild it up quick. And that turned into, I don't know, a bunch of requests to do this video or this little Zoom. So I put this together today. It's not super fancy, but I'm going to cover a bunch of stuff really, really fast, if that's good with everybody. Okay, I guess we're relatively quiet. I won't mute everybody. If you have any questions, feel free to throw it in the chat and I'll watch that. Or if Ricardo, you can watch that, and we'll answer them as quick as we can. So what are we going to talk about today? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to tell you exactly how you can fail at being a wholesaler, right? All of the things that you can do that will screw up your business and crash it into the wall. One of the ways that you do that is by spending too much money. And it's very easy to feel like we're doing the right thing and just start to get off of track, right? We all have these intentions of when we start a business or something like wholesaling, we're going to do this, and it's so easy, so easy to kind of, what do they call it? That follow that red dot, or the bouncing ball, or the thing with the cat, right? Where you're running around chasing different things and not staying focused, right? If you have a partner, and I don't know how many of you guys do, actually that'd be a great thing. Throw in the chat if you've got a partner, just say yes. It's really easy for you and your partner to get out of alignment, right? And that's sort of that's definitely what happened for me. And how do you decide if you need to restart your company, right? There are just times where it's you just need to stop and start over again. And if you do need to do that, how you can do it successfully, so that you can rebuild your company to the level that you want, how you can get it up to 100,000 per month or more. And at the end, I'm going to show you how I can help you do that.
Do you have the suitcase on your bed?
It's on the bench in the room.
There we go. Well, that'll be that. I had to mute everybody. Okay, so a little bit about me. I think I know a lot of you, but maybe not. Maybe you just kind of stumbled in here because you were bored on a Monday night. So my name is David Olds. My biggest company that we're pretty well known for is Nationwide Property Liquidators. We're a high-speed, nationwide property liquidation company, right? So we're wholesalers. And what that means is we're all over the country. We're wholesaling deals in a lot of different markets. Right now, today, in fact, today we contracted 3 deals to sell. So yeah, that's sort of our main business. I also own and operate Easy REI Closings. We're a transactions company for wholesalers across the country. NPL Investments, Real Estate Investments, that's our kind of parent company. I also do real estate coaching. That's Dispo REI Inner Circle. We do live events, Dispo Exposed, and TriStar House Buyers. That is our home buying company, right? So pretty experienced investor. I started back in, oh goodness, seems like forever ago, 2002. My wife and I bought our first property down in Orlando. And way back in the day, we had no idea why we were buying a foreclosure, right? I came out of the closing and I whispered to my realtor, DJ, why did I buy this from Wells Fargo? Right? Because 2002 was before way before the foreclosure crash. So I had no idea what any of that was, right? So pretty easy story. We very, very simple. We got started. We would move into a house, fix it up. 2 years later, we resold it. When I went to sell that first house, same realtor, we had kind of the same conversation outside of the title company. And she said, by the way, all that money's tax-free. And I said, what? How is that possible? He said, well, you've lived in it for 2 years, so it's a homestead. So you don't get taxed on it. I said, well, that's fantastic. So we made like $50,000 that was tax-free and did it over and over and over again, and did it all the way up until about 2007 and 8 in Central Florida while we were working a full-time job. And then the end of the world happened, right? I'm not sure how many of you guys were around back then, but it was pretty ugly. We talk about like recessions and things now, kind of really cavalier But like, it was scary for any of us that were here. Like, if you watch the nightly news, Dan Rather was like, we don't know if the country's going to open tomorrow, right? It was really, really bad. And like, it was tough. Like, I almost lost my job. My wife did lose her job. We knew that the market in Central Florida was just absolutely terrible. And we left. We left Orlando. We came to the Chattanooga market, which is where I'm at now. And the reason I tell you this is because people see us today, my wife and I, like, oh, you guys have always had it so easy. It's fantastic. You've got all these businesses and 100 rentals and all these things. But wasn't always like that, right? You know, the recession like almost wiped us out. I had a house that was foreclosed on. We came to Chattanooga. We bought this house subject to, and we left there and moved here. It was, in fact, I'll show you. Is this house here? Not very fancy, kind of terrible. I got to tell you, I had this beautiful house in Orlando that was fully remodeled, and we had to leave. We had to find a new market to invest in. We chose Chattanooga, but it was a scary thing. We left there, literally packed all of our stuff in a U-Haul. We came to Chattanooga. It was my wife and I, 2 boys, 3 fat dogs, and my brother. And between us, we had $5,000. Like, that was it. We were loaded. We were rolling in it, and this was our house. And it didn't go initially the way we thought, right? I mean, I remember moving into that house the first day, and it was almost my wife's birthday, and I talked her into this plan. We're gonna move to Chattanooga, and we're gonna do real estate. We didn't know anybody, which was the craziest thing ever. And I tell you, the first night here, we unpacked just enough of the truck, moved some mattresses in there, and put them on the floor. And man, you talk like a gut check moment. I was just wondering if we'd made the right decision. I mean, terrible house. The electric didn't work in half the place. It had been vacant for a long time, so there were mice running around. It was just a terrible, terrible night. And literally, like, almost cried myself to sleep because I'm like, what have I done? Oh my God, this is just not not the way you envision providing for your wife and kids. But the good news was we were unstoppable, right? We had incredible focus and determination, and we went from that house and we started our business. We came here to initially do some multifamily stuff, right? Hey, we're gonna buy duplexes and quads and small apartment complexes, and that's gonna be great. But it's 2009. You know how many banks were lending then? None. All those people who used to be lending on properties were busy taking them back. So we started with nothing. And like, when I say we had $5,000, that was like to live on. That wasn't $5,000 in marketing. That was all that we had. So we had to work the hard way. There was no Facebook, there's no Instagram, there was, no deal machine, none of no prop stream, none of that stuff. The only way we found deals was we had bandit signs, right? Went out every Friday night, put out 100 bandit signs. We had to do driving for dollars. The direct mail we did, we were too poor to get postcards initially, so we my wife hand wrote just hundreds and hundreds of yellow letters. Brother and I were just driving for dollars every night. We go back to the list. But we wanted it. I mean, we wanted it more than anything. Focused on it. It was the thing we. Let me mute somebody here. It was the first thing we thought about in the morning. It was the last thing I thought about during before I went to bed. It was what we thought about all during the day. So, and the reason I put this in there is because somebody had asked in one of the groups, so you did it in 5 months this time. How'd you do it the first time? Well, I wanted to explain it was just a different time. We didn't have the ability to scale up like you do now, right? So, but I was coachable. We were open to learning. We didn't have any ego. There was none of this. I know the best way to do it. And pretty much all the initial money that came in, we reinvested it into our company and our marketing so that we could grow as fast as we could, right? So I found this great quote: "What no eye has seen, no ear has heard, the mind cannot conceive." And the reason I put that in there is because we had some success. We had some success really early. We definitely became kind of the dominant wholesalers in our market, and that was what our goal was. But we had no idea, no idea like what we could possibly achieve. And one of the reasons, because like there wasn't the internet, there wasn't a million Facebook groups. You didn't see people doing virtual wholesaling. In fact, that didn't really even exist there back in that time. So it just, one thing is we stayed in our little bubble. We didn't get outside the city. I didn't go to a lot of events and things. So I thought we were doing $20,000, $25,000 a month. Like we were doing amazing. Like I couldn't even imagine doing $50,000 a month, let alone 75 or 100 or $1 million a year. So in looking back on it, the truth is we built really slow. It seemed like we were going fast, but we were doing a lot of stuff, but we didn't grow, right? We didn't grow our business. We didn't bring in team members until really the last couple of years. We had very low expectations. The world's different now. We didn't know that you could be marketing in 30 markets all at one time and be getting deals there. Did not get a coach or a mentor fast enough, right? That was probably some hubris on our part. Like, oh, we know how to do this. We'll just figure it out on our own. And I can tell you that mentality has just cost me hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. And we didn't spend enough time around people doing more than what we were doing, right? So we thought like this was it. Like this is all anybody could do. I had a meeting with somebody a year and a half ago and asked him, how many $1 million wholesalers do you think are out there? He's like, oh, probably 50, maybe 100. And I'm like, no way, can't possibly be. I'm here to tell you there are, and going out and being around those people has showed us that. So over the years, 10 years, we've been doing a little more than 10, but here in Chattanooga, 4 partners. So I like to tell people I was not smart enough to learn from my mistakes the first 4 times, or first 3 times, but I did learn after the 4th one. And I don't regret any of those people. Everybody comes into your life at a different time. They bring you something, they teach you something. You know, there's something to be learned from that. Somebody in. You should never look back and go, oh, I wish this didn't happen, because even the worst things have taught you something. And from 10 years of doing this and 4 partners, one of the things that I've discovered is, at least for me, is that you bring on a partner because you think you're lacking in something, right? That this person can do something that you couldn't do. And I'll just tell you that that's just not the truth. And if you have a partner that's working, fantastic. I wouldn't tell anybody to change that, but if you're thinking about it, you know, message me. We can definitely talk about it. I would love to talk to you and make sure it's the right decision for you, because once you give up that big of a piece of your company, it's very challenging to fix that, right? So anyways, so what happened, right? Everybody's here because they knew that we blew up our company, or I blew up the company. So 2021, right? It was time for a reset. You know, it was just a case where the partner that I had, we just grown apart, right? That doesn't mean it's good or bad for either person. He wanted to go do different things. He wanted to do some software development, and that became what he was focused on, and not running the business, which was what I was focused on. So, you know, it's the things that he was responsible for were maybe not being monitored or handled as well as I thought they should have. And he wanted to go do some different things. So we came to an understanding on July 1st of this year. And one of the problems for me was the business was spending just way too much money on payroll. I would be embarrassed to tell you how much we were spending on payroll, even though we were doing well over $100,000 a month. And, you know, we just weren't getting, you know, we're a wholesale business, right? We weren't getting properties contracted at the right amount. So, and a fun and happy environment had sort of taken over revenue and productivity, right? So when you've got a team, it's very important to keep a good balance, right? You want everybody to enjoy working for you. You want them to have fun, but they can't forget that, you know, what I tell my employees is, we are a small business in America, right? We are not backed by a multi-billion-dollar hedge fund. So, you know, we survive by closing closing deals and closing properties. Everybody has to understand that that is the goal here. If we can do that and have a great time, fantastic, right? Like, I don't want to do that and be miserable, but when fun and happiness and, messing around got more important than closing deals, then we got to a problem where there just wasn't enough attention paid on the fundamentals of the business. So ultimately, that's one of the things that, or the thing that led to having to make a bad decision. So July 1st, my partner, he wanted to keep the company name, which was fine. But his deal was he left with his immediate team. He handled lead gen and acquisitions, right? The portion of the company that I handled was the transactions, training, dispositions. I handled all of that stuff. So let me tell you, it's a cold, sobering day when you go from an office of 16 people to an office of 3. And for some of you guys have been to my office. It's big. This is 6,000 square foot. It's a pretty big place, and it got really quiet, right? It got real quiet in here, and excuse me. It just, like everything, just came to a stop one day, and I knew that was going to happen, right? I mean, it wasn't a surprise, but basically it was 4 of us sitting in a room staring at each other, going, "Okay, what are we going to do now?" Right? Because the deals that we had left, like, this was one of our problems. Not only were we spending too much, but deals were getting contracted too high. So, selling them was, not going to say impossible, but challenging, right? Let's be nice and say challenging. We had a lot of overhead, and all of a sudden, zero income coming in the door, right? So, like, I want to tell you, like, no matter how much you plan for something like that, there's a little bit of panic that sets in there. Like, oh my God, what have I done? How did I think this was a good idea? It's a, and I'm sitting there in the room looking at the 3 people who believed in me and said, we're here with you. We're here to rebuild this. So it was, humbling and scary all at the same time. So, but the one thing, getting out of your comfort zone, and this was one of those things, definitely, I had to step outside of, like, what I was used to, because the old company was very easy. I only handled 55-60% of the deal, but I didn't have to do a lot of stuff. Once they were all gone, now everything was on me, right? So I'm not much of a panic kind of guy in a big way, more than just a minute or two. So we sat down, we took inventory. What do we have to work with, right? So I had people, I had software, and I had processes, right? I knew that I had these things to work with. Our disposition is solid. It's always been really amazing. That's what I do. But all of a sudden, overnight, acquisitions was gone. Nobody to take incoming calls. So it was me, right? I mean, when I started my company, just myself and my brother, my wife, and during those times it was just me and her. I did acquisitions, so that was no problem, right? I was willing to do that. So sat down with the team that was left, the 3 of them, and we said, okay, appreciate you guys staying. We all made sure that we had a common goal and a belief in what we wanted this company to be, right? Because obviously there were issues before. There just were. But we had to find a way forward, right? No obstacle is insurmountable, right? I mean, everything can be conquered. And so what we did was we made a plan, right? So we had a very immediate goal, is we had to generate some revenue fast, because the deals that we had, we were still trying to sell them, but they weren't great, right? They weren't great. So we kind of went to our little cupboard of not tricks, but ways that we could generate revenue. And the easiest thing we were able to do is we can do JV deals, right? We have an incredible dispo team. Even though there was only 3 of them left, our processes are solid. We can move deals all day long. So the first thing was, let's bring in some JV deals. We got to keep the gears running. We need to bring in a little bit of cash, to keep paying for all this, right? My office is $3,800 a month, which for 6,000 square foot, some of you might be like, I'm in LA and that's 90,000. Well, whatever. In Chattanooga, that's a lot. And, you know, I had payroll for these people, right? So, you know, I knew that once January 1st or, you know, whatever the split came along, these people that stayed with me, like it's my job to make sure that they are, you know, they're taken care of, right? And that's a big weight and responsibility that you have, that all of us have as business owners. And that's the thing, you know, somebody taught me years and years ago or told me, and I always took that to heart, right? If you're going to be a solo person, that's cool. Maybe you're not going to do $1 million a month or whatever, but you're also not going to have that that overhead and that responsibility. So, but the people that stayed, I love them, and they are my ride or die people. So my responsibility to take care of them. So secondary goal is we've got to start moving forward, right? So we're going to need to hire a small team. So we talked about like the budget, like we made a budget. Here's what we've got to spend. And we're going to do this as fast as we possibly can. Because here's the thing. There's a expression, I know I'm going to mess it up. It's got something like, you know, if you blow up a balloon, even if you let the air out, like the balloon never shrinks back to its original, you know, size. I know I'm messing that up, right? But like we knew, like I know, you know, we'd done $200,000 in a month. So I knew that ability was there, right? So we were never going to be satisfied with, let's go back and do $30,000 a month. So the question was, how do we get to 100,000 as fast as we can? And how do we do it in a way where we're not overspending money? Because one of the other things I did was all of the team that we kept on board, everybody has, you get a percentage of the or not the profit, but of the assignment fee. So they're all very vested in making sure that we're doing the best deals possible. So hire a small team, very simple. I mean, we don't have time to get too far into it tonight, but we went to Indeed. We put on there what we were looking for. We were looking for salespeople. I put them on a blended structure, small weekly salary, and a good commission structure. Right. So again, everybody, even today, you know, 6 months later or 5 months later, whatever this is, everybody is paid, right, by a percentage of the assignment fee. So salespeople, the talky people, acquisitions and dispositions, you know, they get more maybe than our admin people, but even the admin people get a small piece because I want everybody focused on getting paid. And everybody does it different, right? How you run your business is up to you. This is how I decided to do it. I've got a lot of great friends. Some of them are on here that run their business commission only, and that's cool. Whatever works for you. So we knew we had to hire a small team and get them trained as fast as we could. But the goal was 100% on July 5th was to get back to $100,000 a month and do it profitable this time. Right. So hopefully that makes sense. Yeah, Kale, 3,800 is a lot, but you should come by our office. We have the whole top floor of a building. So anyways, back to $100,000 a month, but profitable this time, right? So here we were presented with some challenges. We'll let some people in here. Right, so in going from a company that was fully functional and up and running, my partner left with that, right, the actual LLC. So I had to do some stuff, right? I had to sort of back up and punt and go, okay, like we're going to be a real company. What do we need to do? I need to restart all of that just as quickly as possible. So I had to go out and create a new LLC, right? I had to go open new bank accounts, set up QuickBooks, figure out how to do payroll because I didn't do payroll before. It wasn't my thing. I let my partner handle that. So those are some very structural things that we had to set up. And we really sat down and we decided we were going to spend about 2 weeks, and in between trying to do our JV deals, we split up some responsibilities, and all of us, the 4 of us that were here, we were going to review our systems. Because let me tell you, you never want to change your CRM when you're doing $70,000 a month. It's not the right time. But we were like at this paused point in time. So we said, let's go through and let's look at all of our systems, right? Let's look at, do we want to use our CRM? Do we want to keep using what we're using? Before somebody asks, we use FreedomSoft. It's what we use. I like it. It's all integrated. Again, everybody uses their own thing. But we had to change, you know, we knew we needed to do some marketing. And two of the things that we decided, we were going to stay on SMS because that was what we did before. So my buddy has a great texting platform. We went and we set up an account with him, and he had some VAs that we were able to hire, right? Because remember, speed was what we were looking for, right? So we paid for a little bit of to get out of the gate really fast. So I got a new texting platform, one that I knew could handle the volume that we needed to be sending. And we hired 2 VAs because that's cheaper than bringing in-house people, right? So we did that. I also knew, because I've got some great friends and mentors of mine that do different kinds of marketing, and one was PPC. I'd always wanted to get into PPC. It really wasn't the right time, but I went to my friend Corey Geary and I said, Corey, let me pay you to set us up on pay-per-click and show me how to do it. So we changed our marketing a little bit. We went more of a 2-pronged approach: PPC, SMS. That's what we did. Let's see, what else do we go through? Everything else was we pretty much kept the same. Oh, and we have Investor Lift, so we were using that before. But yeah, I think that's it, unless anybody has, oh, what text? Ricardo, you want to put your texting platform in there? It's up to you, man. I don't know that you want a bunch of people.
I don't want to do that right now because we are we're swamped with what we have. But in 2 months, I'm going to have a better solution for whoever wants.
You guys
to
want?
go
I'll do another one here in probably February, and
yeah,
and I'll set you up. But anyways, so we did go with a different texting platform. The platform is for high volume users. It's not for, if you're looking to send 10 a day. That's not for you. But anyways, another challenge is we had $13,000 of overhead. I had these 3 employees. The 3 employees who stayed were kind of management level type people, so they weren't super cheap. So we had that, payroll, rent, software subscriptions, all the things that sort of keep your business running. So we definitely were very motivated to get money coming in as fast as we could. Right? Hopefully that makes some sense. So again, we sat down. Where do we need to go? What are our challenges? But what were our assets? Right? My team. Right? 100%. If you guys have ever heard me talk or seen me anyplace, I cannot gush over the team that I've got more than I do. I'm telling you, I am lost during the day without them. They are incredible. We're going in so many different directions, and they are amazing. So I had these 3 amazing people, and they were mainly on the dispo side and transactions. So now we had a whole company to run, right? We had to do everything. So we sat down, assessed what their strengths were, and talked to them, and we had to reposition everybody, make sure that we had the right people in the right spot. Because I'm a big believer in train and promote from within. So I wasn't going to bring somebody from the outside, put them at like a higher level. So some of those people got moved around a little bit, and I had to do some training with them, right? They accepted the challenge of going and doing something new. Like Heather, she was my transactions coordinator, and I talked to her, and she's also a realtor, super experienced, but she wanted to run our acquisitions department. I said, okay, but I had to train her, right? So I had to spend some time doing that. I gave them a lot of incentive and ownership in the process, right? So we sat down with them and said, are we going to keep going with this software and the CRM and all of these things, right? It was very collaborative. And I shared with them the vision that I got for the company, not just that day, this year, next year. We've actually grown a ton. There's been more growth in my company in the last 6 months than there has probably in the last 5 years. And the vision that we have for the future is really broad and aggressive. And they all know that my goal is to promote from within our wholesaling company into these other companies as we start them. So they know there's a long-term future, right? And they were committed to that, which was, again, humbling and amazing. So how did we do it? I think we talked about it a little bit. Added 2 new marketing channels, the SMS, and we started pay-per-click and Facebook ads. So one thing that was different was I didn't want to have 4 people in our office, $15 an hour. texting all day, right? Didn't make sense. It wasn't, the return on that investment wasn't good. That's why we were, sorry, I'm reading somebody's marketing budget. Oh, the marketing budget, I'm sorry, Jack. Sorry, I'm reading questions as we're going. Marketing budget out of the gate this time. We probably started at 6 and ran it up to 8 or 9 pretty quick. Because I knew, again, we wanted to be on a fast start. And I didn't have $6,000, right? I mean, I had $6,000. I didn't use $6,000 in cash to do that. We used credit cards. So I ran it through my American Express, got the points, paid it off. So we use a lot of credit cards to to get the points and the miles. I was talking to somebody about that today. So pay-per-click, Facebook ads, SMS. Immediately, right? We knew we needed to hire two acquisitions agents, right? Because I had Heather, even though she was going to be in charge of that, somebody still has to be on the backside underwriting and approving deals. And she had other jobs. And then I had to put one person on dispositions. All right. So that's what the team looked like. We knew that our processes worked. That wasn't it. That wasn't a question. I just need people who believed in it and believed in the company and to drop them into place. Right. So this is what our structure looked like. And this is how we rebuilt so quickly. So Narissa, who was initially hired to be a personal assistant for me, we never did that a day in her life because she came in and I realized how amazing she was at all these other things. Super organized, smart. She runs all of our VAs, all of our SMS messaging. She manages all of that, as well as doing market research and lists for acquisitions and dispositions. So lists for what gets texted out, dispositions. She pulls all the list of buyers and be texted and RVM'd and all that stuff. So she does all of that. She's really the backbone of the company. Heather, the first Heather, I trained her and then she trained our 2 acquisitions agents. She manages them and she also did all the transaction coordinating when we started and was responsible for all the, acquisitions deals and underwriting those deals, right? Because remember, we had a problem before where we were getting deals that didn't make any sense, right? Or deals that were coming across to dispositions to sell that just didn't have enough meat on the bone. And it was getting very, very difficult because, so when I first started wholesaling 11 years ago, whatever it was, like my average deal size was 4,600. And that was great in 2009, 2010. But now, as we've talked about in the chat, like we've got overhead. We have a lot of employees. We have an expensive office. We have stuff. So our goal now is to do, and we've hit that last couple of months, is to do deals that have a minimum assignment fee of $20,000. So we've had to grow and expand. Remember the balloon that blows up? Like, we have to fill that space because we know it's possible. So that was what Heather did. And then I was responsible. I took on dispositions. I trained the new dispo person. Her name is Brooke. She's amazing. Now we have 2 over there because as we've grown, we've been able to add another person. And then just, I'm responsible for the overall management and vision of the company. And then Heather O, my wife, because it's not confusing having 2 Heathers in an office at all, is she handles all the marketing and bookkeeping. She does a lot of the daily postings and getting our properties out there and all that type of stuff. Does that make sense to everybody? So Luke, am I doing just more than just standard wholesaling? No. I've done all those types of deals, seller finance, subject to novations. I've done them all myself. But here's the one thing I had to be very aware of is the people that we were bringing in were all new, right? The acquisitions people, no experience in even real estate, right? One I think worked in an Apple store and one came from Amazon. So they had no experience in, admitting people. They had no experience in real estate. So I wanted to keep it very, very simple for them and, not overwhelm them and confuse them, right? So the one example I use all the time is, you guys have been to Little Caesars Pizza, right? Little Caesars, It works well because there's one person who takes the dough off the truck, brings it inside, puts it in the freezer, right? One person who takes the dough out, thaws it, another person who flips the dough, or whatever that is. Somebody does the sauce, somebody does the the toppings. A person puts it in the oven, someone takes it out of the oven, someone cuts it, someone puts it over the counter and sells it, right? So everybody has one job, and it's very simple and very straightforward. That's exactly how we run our wholesale company. Everybody's got one job to do, and they do it really well. So the analogy would be exactly an assembly line. If, like, Little Caesars, let's be honest, it makes a pretty decent pizza, right? It's not the best, but certainly not the worst either, right? If I was to go into Little Caesars and say, hey man, can you make me a soft taco? That fucking place would crumble to its knees, right? Because it's not what they do, right? We are a wholesale company. We are a nationwide wholesale company. We wholesale properties to cash buyers. That's what we do. I don't want to try to train these guys right now to where they're trying to, like, they're, just getting really good at making cash offers and learn how to evaluate properties and make the right offer and negotiate, doing all those types of things. I don't want to throw too many things on top of them where it's just too much confusion and decision making for them. Eventually what we will do is, that's one of the things that we're going to expand out in 2022 and 23 is, but the way we'll do it is we'll actually set up a separate team. So I'll train one person to do subject to novations, deals like that where they can't close it for cash, they'll kick over to that person. And to me, that's the best way to do that, so that they can stay good at what they're doing. SMS is incredibly viable. We get deals every single day with those. So does that make sense to everybody? Yes. And Investor Lift is what we use to sell all of our deals. So I don't want this to go too long. I know I promised you guys an hour, and I want to leave some time for questions. So 10 things I've learned the hard way. Because like I said, I've learned how to screw things up over and over and over again. These are 10 of the big ones. Stay out of rural areas. The deals are too small and they're really hard to move. Can you sell them? Yes. I'm not saying you can't sell them. I'm not saying you can't get some deals there, but in general, being in Anderson, Alabama with 255 people is a very difficult place to sell your deal, because you've got to sell it to one of the other 254 people there, and they already know it's been for sale. So it's just really hard. And selling a $20,000 deal takes just as much effort as a $4,000 deal. So one of the things that we teach in our coaching is, I tell people all the time, you got two ponds where you could go fishing, right? You got this one over here, which is where your grandfather fished. You got this other one over here. You go over here where granddaddy used to fish, in 2 days, and you'll be lucky if you catch a frog, right? Because it's just a worn out old place, right? But maybe it's got some nostalgia. Over here, you've got the pond that the state just dug out, and they filled it with water and brought in one of those dump trucks and dumped in a boatload of like striped bass or whatever, right? So where should you fish? Go fish in the place with the most fish, and the most opportunity to catch stuff. So that's how we look at markets. And we don't have a ton of time to get into that tonight, but go to the markets where the most cash buyers are. That's going to be the easiest place to sell your deals, right? You don't want your dispositions to feel like you've just got this bag of bricks and you're pulling it up the hill. That's crazy. What you focus on is what you get, right? And I'm a strong believer in manifesting, and what you set your mind to is what you're going to achieve, right? So everybody on the team has to be working together. Like, I cannot stress, this might be one of the most important things here. If the last thing you want, if you're going to have a company and you've got different teams, like an acquisitions team or dispo teams, you don't want them working against each other, right? If you get that kind of those factions going on, it gets like tribal or whatever term you want to use, like, this guy sucks, he's not selling my deal, or that person, they're giving me shitty deals. Like, it's going to be the beginning of the end. And I've lived through that. I promise you, it's not good. Virtual assistants are awesome, man. I'm going to tell you, I had this, I'm ashamed, the mindset of like, oh, they're not going to be good, or I can't use them in my business, or I don't know, whatever, fill in the blank for whatever, might be in your head. They've been great. I interviewed one today from the Philippines. I don't even know what I'm going to do with this guy yet, but I'm going to hire him. You got to spend money to make money. You're going to have to invest in yourself and in your company. I've done it both ways, and I can tell you, I promise you, the growth that I've seen even this year and the last couple of years, it's beyond 10x. I used to have first off, when I started, there wasn't this, right? There's none of any of this was here. We had like the Flip Man and his YouTube videos to go and watch, but spending money on masterminds and coaching and going to different events has every single time 10x is my money. The mentality of I'm not going to pay for something, I'm not going to do it. Like, all courses work, right? They do. No matter what if you pick the short sale course or the talk to people course or whatever it is, like, they all work. I buy courses all the time. In fact, I bought a couple on Black Friday because they were on special. But your people and your plan, those are both equally important, right? So I've talked about how amazing my team is. A great team with a shitty plan is not going to get you anyplace, right? You're just going to frustrate them and you're going to wear them out. Also, like, the best plan and terrible people, like, the plan is not going to work. So those two things are equally important. You can't have one without the other. And if it's just you and you're a hard worker, or you're dedicated to this and convinced that this is what you want, you got to have a good plan. Or you're going to be like me, you're going to spend the first 5 years doing it the hardest way possible. And this is scary, right? I tell people, I get asked a lot when I do podcasts and things like what advice would you give people? I'm like, well, being an entrepreneur is like hard. It is, right? I know all the gurus want to sell you on this. Sit in your living room in your underwear and eat hot dogs and just make $1 million and order the jet. Like, it's hard work. Anything worthwhile, achieving anything that you really want is hard. And you have to get out of your comfort zone to do it. Blowing up a company that was doing $1 million a year, very hard. Starting new companies, very hard. Getting in a circle of people that you're not used to being in, very hard. Getting on stage and speaking for the first time, holy shit, is that hard. But the more that you do it, the more you get comfortable with it. That's 100% how you grow. And man, people ask all the time, like, if you could tell your younger self one thing, that's what I would go back and tell my 18 or 19-year-old self. You can compress time and go faster, right? Time compression, it's an amazing thing. I don't know if you guys know who Dan Merrill is. Well, before he became huge with Fortune Builders, I was having dinner with him one time, and he said, everybody has a great idea. Like, everybody does. Every single one of us. There are 70 people in this room. 70 people have great ideas every single day. But speed of implementation, most people are like, they think about it, 20 minutes later, they've forgotten, and because they don't do anything about it. So, implementing great ideas is incredibly important. And you can use that to compress time, right? So let's say I've got to walk a mile, right? Who knows how far a mile is? Is it like 4,000 feet or something like that? Like, you could do 1 foot a day, right? You could, if you got to walk a mile, you could do 1 step a day for whatever it is, 4,000 days, or you could do 100 steps a day. You could do it in, a quarter of the time or whatever that would be. Or like, you could do it in 3 days, you could do it in 1 day, right? So, taking a plan that you've got, a lot of us say, oh, I'm going to do this within the next 2 years. And like, successful people are like, well, how can I do it today? Right. And again, that's a little ambitious, right? It gets a lot of us in trouble sometimes, but man, maybe if we fail, we do it in 4 days instead of 2 weeks or whatever, right? I'm saying compress time. You can accomplish far more than you think you can, especially if you have a team. And the last thing is mentors and masterminds. Like, that is what made it possible. I've been to more mentorships and masterminds in the last year than I did probably in the first 9 years of, or 10 years of being in investing. And I cannot put a dollar amount on how much growth that's given me, the people that I've been able to surround myself with. Some of them are on this call, which is amazing. I appreciate their support. But man, again, being an entrepreneur can be lonely, but having friends and allies that you can call when you're having a bad day, or they can call you, or you can just call them and go, hey man, what do you think about this? This is the craziest thing happened to me. How can I solve this? Right. And then, because we're all good at different things. Right. So, I'd love to, whatever things I can offer to, to other people, how can I help you, kind of solve your problems. Right. So what does 2022 look like for us? So for us, we're going to do $4.8 million in assignment fees. And that sounds like a hairy, audacious goal, right? When you look at it, but it's really very simple. And this was actually my team came up with this. This wasn't me. My goal was 3.5 million. So this is what the team decided, right? So at its core, each acquisitions manager must produce 2 deals at 20,000 per week. All right, no problem, right? $20,000 a week. And that's for the first quarter, and then 3 per week for the rest of the year. And when that happens, it'll produce 4.8 million in assignment fees. So it's not that challenging, right? We were able to just work backwards from where we wanted to go. How do we do that? And then from within that, now I'm not gonna, you have to look at your entire company, right? Lead gen, marketing, acquisitions, dispositions, closings, transactions, and make sure, there's alignment between all of those, and that you're putting the right amount of marketing, or pulling the right amount of leads that goes into marketing goes into acquisitions, right? So there's a lot more to it than that, but ultimately that's the recipe right there. Our team, we've sat down with them over the last couple of weeks. We've done individual goal setting with every single one. And we start with, what do you want to do outside of work? Work isn't your whole life. What are your goals in the next year? And I like asking them. I want to know, because I don't want it to just be this, we all come in here and work and then we all leave. And, we run a very small, close-knit team. So maybe there's something that I can do to help them. Right. And I can find what's important to them, and I can try to incentivize them with the things that mean something to them. Right. Because we're all different. And I've tried different incentives in the past. And a couple of years ago, we're like, if we hit this dollar amount, I'll take everybody on a cruise. It had zero effect. Landed like a brick, thrown off the top of a building. Nobody cared. So it's important to figure out if you're going to have a team, what's important to them, and use that to try to incentivize them. Hey, this is what you want to do. I can help you. Here's how we can do it as a company. And if you do this, this helps you get to your goal. And that anchors with them a lot stronger than just saying, oh, I'm going to give you an extra $500 or whatever, $1,000, right? So, so we spent a lot of time, setting goals with them and working through, there's so much more to that. 2 deals, we put KPIs in place for them, and they understand what's expected and how they're going to, what their responsibility is, and all of that. So, and in all of that, our processes are rock solid, right? They were good before we started, and really over the last 5 months, we knew the first goal was to do 100,000 a month, and we ended up doing 151. So, our goals increased from here on out, and we've really, we've stress tested them. We've taken them, we've torn them apart, we put them back together again. We're always looking for where something can break at, right? So, So anyways, so that's what 2022 looks like for us. Yeah, so that's where we're at. Does anybody have any questions so far? Yeah, Ricardo's right. 20 to 30% is your net. It'll be a little higher for us as we shift and have more VAs instead of in-house people. Oh, I guess I can unmute all. You guys can unmute yourself if you have a question.
You do any wholesaling in Chattanooga?
Man, I'll tell you, Kale, once in a while, we used to do a ton of it, dude. We'd do almost 10 deals a month here. And as we've expanded out and gone nationwide, we probably only do one, maybe 2 deals a month here. And honestly, they actually sell before they go off the website because we have such a great buyer. So we can make a couple calls and move some stuff.
That's the only rental I own is a deal I bought from you guys. It turned out to be awesome.
Yeah. Which one was it?
1915 Ralston.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That area's coming around, isn't it?
Yeah.
Used to be scary, dude, way back in the day.
Yeah. Oh, I bet. Yeah. It turned out to be great. We bought it I think we bought it from you guys for 65. It appraised for 140 by the time, 6 months later, once we refinanced out, it was crazy.
Yeah. And that's one thing that a lot of wholesalers don't understand is they try to strip every single dollar out of every deal. And, when we were just in Chattanooga, probably 40% of our deals were sold to repeat buyers. We're a big believer in that. And I would always tell people when they started, look, I'm not going to screw you for every dollar here because I don't want you to buy one from me. I want you to buy 10 this year.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we sold 3 or 4 pretty recently here in town. One over on Julian Drive. There was one that we had over on Delaware. Just in the last couple of months, probably 5 deals in Chattanooga. It's not a ton. Like the bulk of our deals are outside of Chattanooga. So, but
well, you're doing 4.8 million in assignment fees is the goal. You got to be in more than Chattanooga. So,
well, that's it. And that's one of the reasons. That's a great question. One of the reasons that we went virtual originally was, if I need to do, right, or want to do whatever, 20 deals a month, it's really hard to do 20 deals in any one market, right? You have to be a real special kind of fucking narcissist to believe that you have the only deals in town and everybody's going to buy from you, right? I was for a long time the biggest wholesaler in Chattanooga, and I bought rehab deals from other wholesalers, right? Like everybody's got deals. So that's the first problem. The second problem is you get buyers fatigue, right? A market can only absorb so many of your deals, right? Just you can only put a deal out in front of people so much. You can overdo it, right? So I don't even try to send out a deal, like 2 deals within 2 days to the same market, no matter where we're at. We kind of watch that pretty close because if I give someone too many options, they don't know what to pick. So it's far easier for me to do 20 deals in 10 markets than it is to do 20 deals in one market in a month. It's really, really, really challenging. I've tried it. And there is just a point where you max yourself out. Cool. So that's what 2022 looks like for us. Like you guys have, we are in, what are we on, the 13th of December? Look at my calendar. Does everybody have like a plan for next year already? Has everybody sat down and kind of done that? Hopefully. Well, if you haven't, you should. I mean, that's definitely one of the things that we do in our business. And, we also do that with our coaching students. That $4.8 million, right? So I get asked this a lot. And I get a lot of messages. How do you do it? How do you, I get that continuously. Like I've turned off notifications on my Facebook messages because we get so much of that. So, that's a question. Who would like to be able to clone our business model? Be able to take exactly what we do because it's very simple, it's very scalable, and clone that into your business. Here's what we got. I told you at the beginning I was going to show you a way to that we could help you do that. So we have a coaching program. If you go to our website right now, it's $7,500. It's $500 a month, and what that includes is we have a bunch of modules. Within those modules, there's a ton of different videos, but 18 hours of video training, all the contracts, the forms, the KPIs, the paperwork, everything that we use every single day in our business, right? There's nothing that we use that's not there. And monthly accountability, and we have ongoing training, and we do that with a couple of different Zoom meetings every month. In fact, our next one is this Thursday, and we're doing with our students, we're going to break down their goal setting for next year. So that's pretty exciting. But I was reading this book and I've got a friend, he's like, you got to have an irresistible offer that's so crazy and stupid that nobody could say no. I'm like, all right, let me see what I can do. So our Dispo REI course, we have people legit that paid full price last week to get in there. So here's what I'm gonna do. It is Christmas, right? And we're looking to bring in some new people who want an opportunity to change their business in January. So I'm gonna discount it. It is $3,000 plus the $500 a month, and that's for the ongoing training. So here's what you get with that. One day to come to our office. You get to visit, spend all day, ask any question you want, talk to anybody on our team. And then also, usually we'll bring a bunch of people here at the same time, and we'll do like a mastermind, right? So we have a private Facebook group. We have the 2 scheduled Zoom calls. And in between those calls, if you need help, like I know there's a couple people on our, in our coaching course that are here, you get access to them as well as needed. But again, because I want to make sure this is a no-brainer deal for you guys. We just did a live event and we packed out our office. We had a bunch of people here and we did basically a live event of our coaching program. And that was for the people that were here paid $4,000 to be in that room. So I'm going to give you access to that as well. We are going to have some events in 2022 outside of the one-day visit, and for any of those events, we will do those at half price. Just like so that this is absolutely no fear, no worries, like money back guarantee. Like if you can't 5x your investment in 6 months and you've watched the videos and gone to all the trainings, I'll refund all your money, no questions asked, and I'll still coach you for the rest of the year. That's what I can offer you. That's if you're looking to really increase your business next year and you're looking for something that is incredibly straightforward, scalable, you want to grow and not be in the same place next December that you are right now, I don't know of a better course for you. But it's disporei.com. That is a website where you can sign up. I have set it so on our little Stripe account, the billing site, like it only runs till Wednesday at midnight. So just because I can't, we give everybody a lot of personal attention, so I can't put 50 people in there. So if there's anybody that's interested, I would love to have you there. All right, guys. So listen, if there's nothing else, I appreciate you all for coming in. I know we went over an hour, and I appreciate you you guys hanging out with me. Hopefully you got some good value. disporei.com, $3,000. I promise it's only set up to be on there till midnight on Wednesday. And the reason I only extended it that long is because there were some people that couldn't make this call and they want the replay, so I'm going to provide it to them. If anybody has any questions or you want to talk to me like off the air, please shoot me a message on either Instagram or Facebook. I'll try to monitor all of those if you want to get on a call and talk about something, or have any questions on the course and how it will benefit you. Please let me know. But yeah, we're gonna keep that. All right, I was reading the messages. We'll keep that up until Wednesday for anybody that wants to jump on and make that investment. And that's what I got. Any other questions? All right, guys, I hope that y'all have an amazing holiday and that 2022 is just awesome for you. Have a good night, guys.